Hello! Right, I know the notifications must have worked if people are already watching. Oh, T55, I did see your comment. I deleted it earlier, not because, because I didn't know what it was about at the time, so I've looked now. I'm assuming it's the Chad meme one you're on about. The only thing is I don't like to get involved in a lot of e-drama, so sometimes when people say, can you check out something on a certain site, I think they want me to respond to people bitching at me or whatever, so, sorry, that's just why I generally don't like to, unless I can immediately check what people are on about. I don't like to leave comments like that up, but it's nothing personal. Cool, yeah, I'm back from work. This isn't going to be a very well organised stream or anything, it's just literally that I'm back from work, I've had a bath. As you can see, I haven't had a shave or anything. Basically all this stream's going to be is just having a chat with everybody for a bit. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream tomorrow or Tuesday, sadly, because I've got stuff on both days. Wednesday I'm really hoping I can stream, but with Tuesday, if I get a chance to stream, I will do. Same with Monday, but I've just got quite a bit on. So, you know, it's things. Cheers, Charles. Yeah, any filter can leak charcoal if it's a charcoal filter. If the bit at the top of the filter... Let me show you something, hang on. So, on an NBC filter, or a CBRN filter, you have generally the main particle filters in this front section. Then you have the charcoal in this section. And then there's a particle filter at the top that holds the charcoal in, that stops you breathing the charcoal in. That's generally only a more basic particle filter. It's that bit there. I don't know if the autofocus will focus on it. But you can see the mesh there, where the maybe it will focus. Yeah, there you go. You can see it there. So that cottony mesh type stuff is the top particle layer. That's what keeps the charcoal in. If that rips, the filter will leak charcoal and whatever the charcoal's impregnated with. So yeah, if you've got a leaking old filter, don't breathe through it. Even if it's not an asbestos filter, inhaling coal dust is not good for your lungs. That's a Lee-Enfield, the British bolt-action rifle, from like World War I, World War II sort of time. So yeah, it's not too dissimilar to a Moss in the Gant. Yep. SMLE is the Lee-Enfield, the SLR is the semi-auto. Although, both deactivated, so neither work. I assume they probably did, Mr. Ramix. I don't personally know exactly what was in World War I filters and everything, but, you know, we know that most World War II filters contained asbestos. But, you know, obviously it was still far better to breathe through the stuff in the filter than it was to inhale the gas. It's the other way round, Nitrous. Basically, the FAL was developed by FN, and lots and lots of countries bought the rights to produce FALs, or they bought FALs from FN. Britain was given a free production license by FN because FN was a Belgian company during World War II, because Belgium was liberated, obviously, by France. Not France, sorry. Belgium was liberated by the UK and the US. Both the UK and the US were offered free production licenses for the gun. So when Britain made the FAL, the SLR is the changed British version. So because Britain basically had a free license to do what, you know, they wanted to do with the gun, it was the FAL but with a couple of changes made. As far as I'm aware, I'll show you quickly now. I'll get the rifle down. Yeah, the FAL came before the SLR. The SLR is the British version of the thing. L1A1 is the technical designation for the SLR. But okay, because mine's deactivated, I can't show you this properly, but where the charging handle is, on a conventional FAL, you would obviously pull this back, that would cock the gun, and then it would spring forwards. On both the British and the Israeli FALs, as far as I'm aware, it has a forward assist built into this. So if you load the gun, and the round doesn't go into battery properly, you slide this forwards, that forces a round into the chamber. Because that's like a reliability improvement on it. Another difference between British FALs and most of the common FALs is these are known as imperial FALs or inch pattern FALs. Belgian FALs are metric because Britain still use the imperial system at this point. There's a couple of things that are done differently on it. One of my favourite things of British FALs, like SLRs, is the handguard. I really like the two-hole handguard there. You know, where some of the other FALs have different hole or, you know, shape things. I like the British FALs two-hole one like that. Another difference on the British FAL is, now I'll get the magazine out so you can see this easier. Right. Where the trigger group is, see the trigger guard. Right, on a British FAL, this, I don't know if this is attached quite correctly because it was missing a part where I bought it deactivated, so I did a sort of repair job myself, but I don't know if it's repaired quite right. The British FAL has an expanding trigger guard. I think if I didn't have this particular screw in there, if it had the original screw, this would expand a bit more. But the point of this is, if you're wearing cold weather mittens, it's so you can, you know, with gloves on, you can still work the trigger. Whereas regular FALs didn't have that. They had the, you know, fixed trigger guard. This one has the, obviously, the adjustable one. Alright, I'm just getting a spam call, so let me just stop that a second and block the number. For some reason it's not letting me block it, that's strange. No idea what that is. Oh well, I'll tell you what, I'll put my phone into airplane mode for the time being, and that way nobody can bother me while I'm streaming. But it's not an actual number I recognise. It's just a nonsense number. Hello. No, I've played some of the older Battlefield games, none of the newer ones. I also think this thing might be unique on the British FALs, and I can't remember what this does. If there's any old soldiers in the chat, they might be able to tell me. I always forget, because I'd love a manual for this. But it has this thing that pushes a little thing on the inside. I don't know if that was like another kind of assist thing to push around into battery if it got stuck in the magazine or something like that. No, the mag dropping bit is, let me put the mag back in. It rocks in like an AK mag. The mag release is that big one there, like the paddle. See, you push, see if I hold this via the mag. This is round the wrong way for the camera, hang on. Whoa. Right, so if I hold the FAL via the mag, this paddle here, that's the mag release, that big one. See it? If I take my finger away. So, if I push that in, then I can drop the mag. See? That's the mag release, that one there. I'd assume the other one is something to help push maybe rounds out of the mag if they get stuck in the feed lips of the mag or something like that, but I'm not actually sure. So, yeah. As far as I'm aware, that wasn't a feature on the regular FALs though, because I can't find much information out about it, but yeah. Another different thing on the SLR, well this isn't necessarily different on the SLR completely, is it has this method where the FAL opens. Hang on. You pull this bit back. This might be hard to do on the stream because, you know, holding it. You pull this bit back and the receiver opens like that. So there you can see where all the fire sort of control group is, where the trigger is. Although this is deactivated, a lot of it's removed. That's where the dust cover is. Obviously, the dust cover comes off, but I don't want to take it off because it can be a pain to put back on, because where it's deactivated it doesn't go back on fully. So then you just shut that back up like that. But yeah, the FAL is quite interesting in the sense that it's yeah, so to get back to your original question, the FAL came first. The SLR is like the British improved design on the FAL. The Israeli FALs are also better than the original FALs because they had improved designs. But basically, as far as I'm aware, if you wanted to get a FAL, let's say you're in a country like America, something like the SLR is a better choice from what I can understand, just because they were made to a higher quality standard. You know, it had more improvements made to it. Also, a point I should make before I forget, which is one of the most obvious differences, SLRs were semi-auto only. You can see the the safety there. S for safe, R for repetition, which is semi-automatic. Maybe if I get that more in frame. Yeah, S and R. Yeah, so Belgian FALs and all of the ones built on the FN design, they were fully automatic and semi-automatic. But Britain didn't want that on there because they thought that would make the soldiers less accurate in drills. Because you can't control a battle rifle very well in full auto anyway, they thought it was better to train soldiers, you know, good marksmanship in semi-auto only. Because you can still lay down with a rifle like that if you're squeezing the trigger pretty fast, a pretty, you know, good rate of fire on it. You know, I mean, to be honest, if you were going to put your own custom fire settings on, I suppose a small burst setting would actually be good on something like the FAL, but they never did that. Yeah, the SLR is 7.62 NATO, same as the Belgian FALs. So yeah, 7.62 NATO, full-size battle rifle. The thing is as well with the FAL was it was never originally designed for 7.62 NATO. I think it was 280 British FN designed it in. And then what happened was America said if you put it in 7.62 NATO we'll adopt it. FN did that because obviously they wanted the US market using the FAL, and then America said lol, we're going with the M14 anyway. But the FAL was still a very good rifle in 7.62, but yeah, it was originally planned in an intermediate cartridge. So it would be somewhere between 5.56 and 7.62. You know, what a lot of nations actually white. You know, that's the interesting thing, is what a lot of nations want now from a cartridge. The FAL would have originally had that, same with the British EM2 rifle. But America put a stop to that. It completely depends on you. The most practical wouldn't actually even be a gas mask, it would be a respirator with a hose on it, not, you know what I mean, a respirator with an air tank. Because then it doesn't matter what kind of gas is in the air or if there's no air, you can still breathe, and it's positive pressure. That doesn't matter. Yeah, it's I don't do videos on sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere. I hate sand. But no, only joking. No, but yeah, it obviously makes more sense, doesn't it? Weapons and stuff, not weapon sand stuff. Right, I'm just going to finish my coffee before it goes cold. This is the only one I've had since I've come in from work, and obviously could definitely do with some coffee in me. Right, there we go. Hello, Gas Mask Reviewer, how are you? A kitchen porter, which means it's basically like cleaning in a kitchen, mopping, you know, putting stuff through a dishwasher. Yeah, exactly, 6 of spades. What we do have on the SLR, you can see it even from my deactivation. I think first model FALs didn't have this, but later models did. See on the where the receiver is, where the extractor is, there's like that weird thing. It looks like a zigzag line. That is the sand grooves, because FN and Britain on later models of these rifles put sand grooves in, so if you were using it in a dusty or sandy environment, it would actually clean the sand out better of the gun. Yeah, Nitrous, if you want to do a video on your masks, do a video on your masks. No, I don't own a jackknife, actually. Let me just double check what a jackknife is in case I do have one and I just am being silly. The ones that are a bit like sort of Swiss Army knives, but just kind of I have the weird feeling, Peach, that I might somewhere have a knife a bit like that. You know, one that's just got 2 little blades or something that come out of a handle somewhere. But I have no idea where it is. It'll be like one of those blades I've had for ages. Alright, I can't properly dry fire it though, Shackleton. The reason for that is that because of how it's deactivated, the trigger doesn't control to the bolt, but I can rack the bolt for you if you want to hear the bolt racking. Yeah, if you're camera shy, what you can always do is you can put the mask on a table or something, film the table, and then just talk. That way your face isn't on camera or anything like that. No, butterfly knives are illegal in the UK. I do have a butterfly trainer, which is basically where it's like a butterfly knife, but instead of a blade in there, there's just a blunt piece of metal, which is so you can practice doing the flicking and everything with it, but it's not actually a butterfly knife, because for whatever reason, butterfly knives on the completely verboten. Yeah. For some reason, we have some, like, general British laws in knives, is that there are knives that you can carry on you without having a reason, even though it's still best to have a reason. There are knives you can't carry on you unless you have a justifiable reason for having it on you, like it's, you know, for your job or whatever. And then there's some knives that are totally banned. You can't buy them, you can't sell them, you know, you're not allowed to own them. And those are things like the butterfly knife, for some reason, is on that list. Right then, if you want to see the Lee-Enfield, I'll get it down. Bear in mind I won't be able to get it down very well because it is, I've got it up here properly so it's in frame, but as you've asked so nicely, and I don't know if I can do a stream tomorrow or Tuesday. There you go, it's a bit dusty and it's got a cobweb on it. If you're wondering, I am in pyjamas. Right, so if you're wondering why the sling is across like that, the sling is across like that just so it hangs on my wall properly without flipping over. Right, so this is what you want to see, isn't it? Hang on, let me check I'm in frame. Hang on, that's not closing properly. Why is that? Very strange. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can work out why a deactivated gun doesn't want to cycle properly. That is very strange. A bit of friction between parts. I did say verboten. No, I said verboten because verboten is a word people generally use a lot for kind of you know, like over the top weird sort of government rulings for things. Right, why is my Enfield not cycling properly? This is very interesting because it's a deactivated gun, you know. There we go. Right, let's see. I can't obviously do a 30 mad minute, but no, it's not that. I don't. That's cool, Shackleton. Glad you liked it. And an interesting thing that a lot of people don't know about the Lee-Enfields is that the mag is actually removable. These actually had replaceable magazines. The problem was they didn't issue replaceable magazines to British soldiers, so they still had to load it via a clip. But the mags did actually come out, so in theory, you could actually, you know, quick change the mags on these. But yeah, it's cycling again at the moment, at least. Sometimes the problem with deactivated rifles is as well that when they're deactivated, bits don't quite move right anymore. No, because the Lee-Enfield doesn't auto-eject anything. What you would do, because I can actually at least demonstrate this with this, you open this bit, which keeps the rounds in. Let me get it properly in frame. So, hang on. You'd open this first, which is the thing that stops the rounds coming out. You open the bolt, then when the bolt's open, that's the bit you'd put the clip in. So you'd put your clip in there, you'd thumb your rounds in. Although it's a 10 round magazine on the Lee-Enfield, I have a feeling you only had 5 rounds on the clipper strip for it. Well, you know what I mean, for the stripper clip. I always say clipper strip. But yeah, you'd open that up, you'd put your thing in, push the rounds in. If I take the magazine out, you'll be able to see me through the gun look. So hang on, let's drop my mag. So that shows you how the you know, action would work. That's where you'd load it into. So you're essentially just thumbing the rounds into the magazine from above, and then you just pull the clip out. So it's not like a Garand that automatically pings out the thing, because the Garand's quite strange, because it has the end block clips, doesn't it? It has like the clips that shoot out of the gun, like, well, not out the gun, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird because it's kind of like halfway between a magazine and a clip the Garand has. The Enfield is just an old-fashioned bolt-action rifle. Just the fact that the magazine is removable. But, let me get my mag back. I should really buy some inert 303 rounds for this. There we go. But yeah, in terms of size, the Enfield and the SLR aren't all that different. Let's put both on the thing. So if you look at the barrels there, the barrels are going to be out of frame when I put them on my chair. They're still out of frame. Yeah, it's going to stay out of frame, but the point is that if I was to do this, both the rifles are actually very, very similar in length. That was the thing with battle rifles. They're as big as bolt actions. Yeah, it's because it's a full power battle rifle. I think, if I'm correct in saying this, the SLR and FALs actually, with 7.62 NATO, actually had slightly more energy than the Lee-Enfield did. So essentially the FAL is a more powerful rifle, despite the fact it's, you know, a semi-auto sort of design. Things like the American Springfield rifle, because that was in 30-06 in the M1 Garand, those are actually more powerful than the FAL. But British 303 wasn't quite as powerful as 7.62 NATO. Now, I think I might even have some inert 303 somewhere. Let me have a look. I don't know if it's on my windowsill. Now, this is interesting. I have a feeling this might be a case from a 303. I did have quite a bit of random ammunition in places. I have a Russian produced 303 round. This is a Soviet Union 303 when they were using 303 rifles on Lend-Lease. So, because they didn't entirely use the Nagant. So this is kind of an interesting thing. So, how it's deactivated, I can't actually put it into the rifle, but to show you, yeah. That's actually a Soviet 303 round, which is a really weird thing, but there you go. Yeah, funnily enough, you mentioned 50 cals. Where is my 50 cal? I have one. I can't see the bastard right now. Just give me a second. It might have rolled off somewhere, but... Ah, there he is. So there you go. here's another Russian 303. Here's a 50 BMG. Well, they'd be even bigger, yeah, but I mean, I know 50 BMG was originally designed as an anti-aircraft round, but yeah. 50 BMG is probably where you draw the line at it being a shell rather than an actual, you know, conventional rifle round, although there are obviously rifles and machine guns that shoot this. It was originally intended as a sort of an anti-armour, anti-aeroplane round. But yeah, I have seen some of the rounds that some of the cannons and things use. They're crazy, aren't they? How big some of them are. Like, imagine the A10's 30, is it 30 or 35mm? The A10's gun has. I imagine those are huge. If you want to get an M15, get an M15. If you mean the Israeli M15, it's totally up to you. If you like the mask, get the mask. As long as you get one that's in good condition, you know, it takes 40mm NATO filters, it's a good mask, I can't complain about the M15. Yeah, I quite want to get, I don't know if anywhere's got it, the Soviet 23mm round that the Shilka uses. Yeah, well, to be honest, if I was going to get shot, I'd like to get shot by a big cartridge like that, because at least it would do a quick job of it, wouldn't it? What I'd really hate is some, you know, puny caliber to hit you in the guts, that, you know, so you bleed out, die slowly in agony. I'd much rather if somebody was going to shoot me, you know, it would be an A10 strafing me or something like that, and that's it. I mean, you'd actually explode, wouldn't you, before you even hear the brrr, but, yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want to be plinked by 22s to death. I'd like to be, if I was going to be shot, you know, something like the FAL as a minimum, really. You know, the person shooting me, I'd like them to be able to aim properly. But the bigger caliber, the better, you know. More of a mess it makes of me, the quicker it would be, really. Yeah, some of the old, even US Civil War bullets, like the mini balls or mini balls, however it's pronounced, were absolutely massive calibers. I don't have any typewriter. Well, I do have a typewriter somewhere, but I don't think it's a very interesting one. It's probably in the attic. I'm afraid I have no idea where it is. It's just what my grandparents gave me at one point because they were going to throw it away otherwise. This isn't an old watch. I've got a new watch on at the moment, which is my Orient. But if you want to see some old watches, hang on a second. And when I say old, you know, it depends what you define as old. I've got two Vostoks here, an Amphibia and the like Kommandersky Cadet or whatever it's called, with the scuba dude on the Amphibia. If the camera wants to focus, come on camera. Problem is when it sees my face, it wants to focus on my face. If I do that, will it focus? Yeah, I'll get the German World War II watch in a second. There we go. So there's that one. There's the really nice engraving they did on the back. It's like a machine done engraving, but hang on. If I grip it like that, you can see the engraving. It's going to focus on my face again. No. There we go. So it's got like a seagull or something flying over the ocean with the sun coming up on the horizon. Good evening, Vladimir. So there's that one. Yeah, I actually really like having a dive watch because I like having a bezel you can rotate. And then, yeah, that's the Amphibia. The Amphibia is the Vostok you want to get, really, if you want to get a Vostok. Yeah, it's the Soviet dive watch, basically. Although this is a post-Soviet one, but oh, it started ticking again because I've moved it. Don't think there's anything interesting on the case back of the Amphibia. The only thing that's not very good with Vostoks is I've had a problem with mine. The loom's not brilliant on Vostoks. It's not awful, but the loom tends to fade pretty quickly on them. Which, you know, for a dive watch isn't brilliant. Yeah, it's already faded quite a lot. But the watch, one of you was on about, was it Shackleton? I think I keep it up here. I think, he says. There it is. This is the German World War II watch my granddad gave me, although it's been recased and restrapped several times. Now, does the radium still... The radium still glows! There we go. Back when they used to put radioactive substances on watches. So some of the radium paint glows better than other bits of it. But yeah, if you put the Geiger counter on this... Let me see if my Geiger counter battery's charged, because you'll find this fascinating if you like radioactive stuff. See you if you're off. Bloke with a typewriter for a picture. Sorry, I can't remember your name off the top of my head. When I remember where I store my Geiger counter, I think it's in actually one of these drawers. Are you in here, Geiger counter? Mr. Geiger counter, are you in my drawer? Maybe, I don't know. Are you in this drawer? No, I don't think you're in that drawer. What about this drawer? There you are. Here we are. Right, now let's see if the batteries are still charging it. Right. Oh, there's no batteries in it, that's why. I think this is one of those annoying things that drains the batteries even when you don't have them in it, so I'm in the habit of taking them out. My night vision does that. If you take the batteries out and store them in the bag with the night vision, you can put the batteries in, they're still at full charge. If you keep them in the night vision, you try and use it a week later, it's drained them totally flat. So let's see if these batteries still have a charge. Oh, there we go. Right. Also, oh, saying about Chernobyl, it's not actually a film, it's a HBO TV series. But yes, I was just about to mention that. Thank you, Iron Man Spartan. I think the first episode of that is out now, so I'll try and watch that a bit later. I did see from the trailer there's lots of Soviet gas masks in it, so I'm kind of wondering if people will be coming to my videos after watching that, trying to know what they are. I ought to do a history of Chernobyl kind of video at some point. Maybe I'll review the show when the show finishes, because I know a lot of people keep asking me to do Chernobyl-themed videos. The thing is with Chernobyl is I want to be very respectful to the liquidators and everything, because obviously a lot of good people did die cleaning up Chernobyl, so I don't like to, you know, make jokes really about it. Right, anyway, so it's running. I think, yeah, the battery's got a thing. So let's get the radium watch. It ticks. It doesn't make the old mechanical style tick, but it does tick. There we go. I will get the Fiestaware out in a minute, don't worry. Yeah, so if you think that's a lot of ticking, wait till you see the Fiestaware. Now I'll put it on this mode so you can see the spikes. Well, the thing is with Geiger counters is I'm sure the modern digital ones are more accurate. My old Polish one, it's very cool, but it's very chunky and heavy, and you have to kind of, when it's turned on, you have to let the needle stabilise and everything. A modern digital one is just so much more practical. Anyway, let me get the Fiestaware, because I know you'll love that. Where is he? Somewhere in here, because I'm dumb enough to keep radioactive substances in my bedroom. Where are you? There, here it is, right. It was inside a gas mask. Right, I've got an old watch in here, face, but I think because this is purely alpha radiation, the Geiger doesn't read it. Let me just have a quick look. I don't want that's a strobe. Yeah, there's another old radium watch face for those that are you interested in. It's a Belova one. I don't know if you can see that glowing under the light, but that does still glow the radium on there. It's probably going to just wash out the thing, isn't it? But yeah, that does still glow again, the radium on this one, but not very much. The problem with old radium things is it just fades so quickly. But anyway, the Fiestaware. You notice I put radioactive on both sides of this. Dun dun dun. Right, the Fiestaware. Are you ready, kids? Where is he? What? I didn't already take him out, did I? Where's my Fiestaware gone? Right, hang on. It's only slightly worrying, isn't it, when you've got radioactive substances you can't find in your house? Fiestaware, where are you? Right, give me a second. Let me just have a quick look where I keep the bag, just in case it's fallen out. Oh, there it is. Oh wait, no, that's not it. There we go. I found it. All it was is it had just fallen out of the thing. Right, are you ready? Are you ready? Yeah, and if I go to the measuring mode, don't forget to like the stream, everybody. I'm irradiating myself just for you. Still going up. So it's at 22, is that microsievents an hour at the moment? 25? Yeah, there we go. Of course, the thing is, you have to bear in mind, is this is still radioactive whether or not the Geiger counter's next to it or not. So, but yeah, the point why I keep it in the bag is, this is very fascinating, because this only gives off beta radiation. I don't think it gives off any gamma. because it only gives off beta... Actually, I just want to see first, does this react to UV light at all? Sadly not. I was wondering if it would glow slightly under the UV. Because it's uranium, not radium. Yeah. Because this is only alpha and beta radiation on Fiestaware, not gamma. What you were saying earlier, Iron Man Spartan, you need lead to stop gamma radiation, yeah. If you put it in a couple of layers of this sort of stuff, you'll notice that if I put this next to that now, it's a lot less. It's still radioactive, but this does actually stop a lot of it. But the other thing is, if you take this slightly away, notice. The point is that something like this is very safe to have as long as it's not under your pillow or something like this. Because when you've got a bit of stuff wrapped around it, it's not like it's gamma or X-rays coming off of this. As long as I'm not licking it or doing something like that, a brief exposure's fine. Let's just chuck it. Yeah, if anybody's interested, I'll use this as a chance to plug the merch. Below, there should be the GP5 design coming up. I don't know if it's showing up yet, but it's been done. If you're interested, Bart's drawn the GP5 merch now. So if I get the thing up, and then I can link you to my Teespring. I know there'll be a thing below, but there's the actual GP5 drawn one, high contrast GP5 now. So I was saying, I don't know if it shows up on the YouTube shelf yet, but for example, like there's all the Mark V stuff, there is now, like say you wanted the GP5 on a mug, for example. I think this link should work, tell me if it doesn't. There we go. When you say Harry, are you on about Harry Warden in My Bloody Valentine? In the original, it's an Acme, I think Clear Vision or something like that it's called. In the remake, it's a GP7. But yeah, so if you wanted the GP5 mug design, there you go. It's also on t-shirts and whatever else. I think Bart's probably going to do the S10 next for me. But I've also said to him what I'd like on the poster is, so I can have the poster in the background there. Looks very strange to me not having Lee-Enfield on the wall there. Is I'm going to have on the poster, probably it's going to be a parody of Keep Calm and Carry On, but it's going to be a skeleton in a gas mask pointing at the Keep Calm and Carry On poster, because of course he's dead. Yeah, cool. That's it. We're going to keep constantly updating it with more designs, because he just gets, whenever anything sells with one of his pictures on, I give him 50%. So he's got an incentive to keep drawing more designs out. But yeah, I know. I said to him, you know, do the GP5 one, because I know a lot of people like the GP5. So I thought, you know, that way. My Geiger counter's falling over. You know, I thought at least if I get him to do the GP5 design, that might interest a lot of people. I've put on phone cases and everything as well. I don't know if anybody would even bother buying those, but, you know, it's there if you want it, I guess. Annoyingly, because I've got a Motorola, I can't actually get a, you know, design that's... Oh, it's done the stupid camera thing where it thinks I want the camera. But yeah, because they only do Samsung and iPhone cases on Teespring, I can't get one for my Motorola. Otherwise, I'd definitely get a gas mask case for that, so I could whip it out. Pardon the sexual pun. I can get him to do a GP7 at some point, or a PMK1, but again, because he actually has to physically draw those out, you know, it's when he gets time to do it, and I'm definitely prioritising things like the S10 first, because I'm quite famous for being an Avon shill after all. When you say MC1, do you mean your Polish MC1? It should do. Maybe not with the filter and the mask, but the mask itself, yes, because it will fold quite small because it's a Soviet latex mask. Well, I got sent this for free by a guy called, I think it was Ziggy Jinx. He does metal detecting videos, but he got sent one to review, and he didn't want it because he couldn't really review it. And he said, oh, I like your videos, I know you're more into this kind of thing than me. So I accepted it from him, and I did the review for the company. If you Google SOX Geiger counter Iron Man Spartan, you should see how much these are. This definitely reads gamma and it reads beta. I'm still not totally sure if it reads alpha or not, because when I've tried it on smoke alarms, it gets a reading. But a lot of people have said, oh no, this model doesn't read alpha. So I don't really know, but as far as I'm aware, it does read alpha. Also because the Radium watch, this one, it's obviously reading this. It's getting a reading from that. But my Polish Geiger counter, which definitely reads beta and gamma, can't get a reading off of this. So I don't know if it's just a more sensitive probe on this, or I don't know, maybe it has got a little alpha window inside there, I don't know. But it's still a very good Geiger counter. Well, it won't be me drawing it. As I said, I can get Bart to do a GP7 at some point. But again, it will be when he gets round to doing it. Well, unfortunately, I'm already like a month ahead with videos. There is a parody video coming though. I thought of a very good parody video I was saying on Mike's stream the other day, but I don't want to spoil it. I'm going to be filming it tomorrow. If you're wondering why I'm looking up, it involves a smoke alarm, but I don't want to say anything more than that. Because there's been an annoying well, I suppose it's not annoying because it might save somebody's life, but there's been this like smoke alarm safety advert that keeps playing on the radio when I'm at work, saying about, you know, you need to check your smoke alarm's batteries because of all these various things that could start a fire. So then I had a sort of funny parody idea for it. Obviously, in real life, yes, make sure your smoke alarm's got a battery in it and everything, but this is going to be a parody video anyway. Well, maybe, depending on what kind of radiation they have in them, Iron Man Spartan, maybe it can't get through the plastic, I don't know. Yeah, it's good. I've not been doing any more game playthroughs for a while on here because I've been having problems where YouTube thinks, oh, this is an age-restricted video because you're playing a game where you shoot people. I'm just hoping I'm not going to put this next to me and I'm not going to get a reading. But, yeah, the, what was I going to say? Yeah, so I've been mostly doing these streams because a lot more people watch them anyway when I do webcam streams, and I find them easier to do. Now, especially now I've bought a new webcam, you know. I don't know what you mean by send pictures. You can't send any pictures or anything like that in a YouTube stream just because YouTube doesn't let you put links or anything, and only people like me or mods can put links in. But have you got pictures or videos of them on your channel, mate? And I'll have a quick look. It says you haven't got any uploads. Well, if you do a video and upload it, let me know and then I can check on there. Yeah, the new see, you can see when I've got stubble, can't you, on this new webcam, which is brilliant. The main thing I like though is the autofocus, like I was saying, that I can put something up to the camera, and also that the lighting looks a lot better. I can put something like that up to the camera, and then, assuming the autofocus wants to do its job properly, maybe. There we go, see? I've got an autofocus, so I can actually hold stuff up in front of the camera. I'll have a quick look, Nitrous. You watch my videos enough, so I might as well check out yours. Are these like strange meme videos, Nitrous, or what? Tell you what, I'll subscribe to you. I can't guarantee you I'll watch any of your videos, but there you go. I've given you a subscribe. There you are. That's interesting. So, was that just to protect the documents inside from being wiped out in a nuclear blast? Because one of the interesting things I watched from some of the Atom Central videos is that they used the Nevada test site. I'm going to turn the Geiger counter off now because I don't want to waste the batteries. And I'm going to take the batteries out because otherwise they drain. Thank you, SOX, for that brilliant design. But regardless, what was I going to say? The Trinity and Beyond, it's not Trinity and Beyond, sorry, that's like the really good documentary they did, but it's the same people who did Trinity and Beyond. In the, they did one, and it's on YouTube, I think it's called something like Nuclear Test Sites or something, I can't remember what it's called, sorry. But they do one where they show you, they used to test bank vaults in like the Arizona or Nevada, wherever it was, test sites. Because what they would do is they would build bank vault designs and then see if they could withstand nuclear explosions. And then they were able to make stronger bank vaults as a result, because they designed, you know, the later vaults so you could have, like, you know, however many kilotons go off fairly close, and the insides of the bank vault could survive the thermal flash and, you know, the massive winds that a nuclear blast makes. Well, the problem is, as I've said with Airsoft, is sadly the nearest site to me isn't very convenient to do. I've got an Airsoft gun. There's a couple of videos where I do things in my garden. I've actually got more than one Airsoft gun. I've got like 3 Airsoft guns, 4 Airsoft guns, but I have 2 AEGs. I have a good one, or relatively good, the Cymer M4, the licensed Colt M4 one, and I have like a really crap AK one that shoots at like 100 FPS, but the Cymer one's pretty good. I like the idea though that they might have a nuclear war that obliterates everything, you know, in the style of Fred's. Everybody is dead, but at least you've got a vault with paper and nobody's ever going to read again. You know, that's a good idea, isn't it? Are you saying, do I have a UK IP address, or are you saying UKIP is in the political party? Are you on about a UCARA? Sorry, Baben. UKARA? No, I don't. Otherwise, I would buy Airsoft replicas of guns I actually want and put them on the wall, because it's cheaper than buying the activate guns, but no, sadly, I don't have a UCARA. Because, basically, just like Defiant was saying about the other thing, all the effort for a bit of paper, the annoying thing is, right, you have to go to an Airsoft site 3 times over the course of a certain amount of time to get a UCARA. I've been to the site nearest me twice, not the 3rd time. If I went again, and the same staff were there that recognised me, and remember I've been, I could get my UCARA. But, again, the Airsoft matches are on days that I work, and it's a fair drive. And a lot of the time, when I've had friends that want to get into Airsoft, they're all up for going until the day, and I can't be bothered. It wasn't just me getting into gas masks that is the reason I buzz cut my hair. It's a cheap convenience thing. The reason being is that if you want to buy a clipper, they're like £20 to £40 for a self haircutting clipper on like Amazon or anywhere like that. If I was to go to the barbers, it'd be like £10 to £15 just to get my hair cut in a very basic way. So what I do is once a month or once every 2 months, I just get the clippers, get all my hair off. You know, saves me a lot of money, because I'm still using one set of clippers that I think cost me £40 back in 2014. So I've been using those clippers for not quite a full 5 years yet, but if you assume that for at least 4 years I've used them either every month or every other month, they save you a lot of money in the long run. Yeah, I'm very strange. I can't ever grow a good beard. I could grow a tash if I really wanted to, but I don't, because, you know, I don't really want to look like an 80s porn star, and it would interfere with some of the gas masks, but, Yeah, I can't grow a beard to save my life. I could grow a goatee just about, and then I'd have like a stupid neck beard, so I always just shave it off when I get stubble. Yeah, but isn't that just because lots of things are expensive in Norway? When I went on Norway on holiday, I ended up not spending a lot of the money I'd converted. What's the Norwegian currency? Is it kronas? I can't remember now. I really can't remember. Is it Norwegian kronas? But anyway, the point was that I converted a load of money. And then I ended up bringing nearly all of it back and converting it back into GDP because of how expensive things were in Norway. And I thought, I'm not regularly going to be paying, you know, like £10 for a pint of beer. I'll have the money when I get home. Yeah, krones, or kronas, yeah. Because there's Swedish kronas as well, aren't there? They're obviously not the same currency. I wish I had a bunker. Sadly, I don't have a bunker. If I had a bunker, I'd do videos in it. I really don't know what the worst built uniform would be. I mean, I like British DPM stuff, but it does rip very easily, but most people like DPM, and it's nice in hot weather because it's very breathable, but you don't want to be climbing a barbed wire fence in DPM. The GSR is a bad mask. You all know I don't like the GSR. Even I have it on some channel icons. Because it looks cool. It's just... it's not very good. I don't know if I'll see it Nitrous, but what you can do is next time I'm streaming, you can remind me, and then I'll make sure I check it out at some point, because the problem is with YouTube, even channels I'm subscribed to and I've clicked the bell on, half the time I don't get notified. On Weapon Collector's videos now, every time I watch one of his streams, I re-tick the bell so I get notifications, and every time I next go on one of his videos, the bell has been unticked again. But I do get notifications from YouTube for channels I have no interest in whatsoever. Isn't that brilliant? A feature where I will be notified about channels I don't want to watch the videos from, but I won't be notified for channels I watch every single video from. What, the Serbian M59? Or Yugoslav M59, sorry. Also known as the M1. Is that the mask? 333? I mean, what I'd really love is when the old bunkers like Calvert and Hatch, maybe not something as big as Calvert and Hatch, but in the UK sometimes you can buy nuclear bunkers that are decommissioned. There was one that was in a funny news story. I'll go on for a few more minutes on the stream, but when I get a bit over an hour I'll stop. But I've really enjoyed the stream, so thanks for tonight. I'm in a lot better mood since doing the stream than when I started. But what was I going to say? There was a story about some people who had gone into an abandoned nuclear bunker, because apparently there was just an abandoned nuclear bunker somewhere, and they were using it to grow weed. And eventually they got caught by the police, but I just thought that was quite funny, you know. There's an abandoned nuclear bunker there, and criminals are using it as a massive, like, grow room. When you say a tube with a drinking tube or a non-drinking tube, do you mean a mask with a drinking tube or a non-drinking tube? If I'm going to be in it for 6 hours... I probably would want a mask with a good drinking tube. Like the FM12 would suit me fine for that. But yeah, it's if I just had to put a mask on to evacuate from somewhere, I really don't care at all about a drinking tube. The problem, I think I've said before with drinking tubes, is that if they are implemented very well onto a mask, they are a brilliant feature, don't get me wrong. The problem is that on a lot of masks they are poorly implemented to the point where the drinking tube could be a source where air, you know, contaminated air could get into the mask. Right, the strangest I have. Right, if it's in my drawer, I will show it you right now. It's very interesting if you find antique kind of things interesting. I think it's this one. Hang on. The filters are... This is one Bart got me when he went to Morocco. If this is the right thing I'm thinking of. Or is this a picture frame type thing? No, this is the right thing. It's just got a random thing in it. Right, I'll bin this display piece because I'm not going to keep a necklace in here. There we get out. Bit rusty as you can see. I'll put some oil on this actually. I'd never use this because obviously it was got for me as a gift because it's like an antique. It's some sort of Moroccan tribe knife. I forgot which tribe it's from, but it's some sort of weird tribal kind of knife. No, and it's like a proper knife. But it's like, you know, one made like a homemade knife kind of thing. Yeah, cheers, Mike. Interesting you're doing stuff with Zombit. Yeah, they were just asking me about what was the weirdest knife I have. Yeah, that's very much it, Bloodhunter. I think it is a Bedouin knife or something like that, but he got it for me when he was in Morocco. He's just like, I thought you'd like that, so. This should explain my thoughts on it. Nitrous. That's actually CBD on there though, not nicotine liquid. But yeah, it's that kind of thing, Bloodhunter. But it definitely takes the cake as one of the weirdest knives I have. I'm on all sorts, Defiant Shackleton. My ulcerative colitis has been flaring up a bit today, unfortunately. Luckily I managed to stay at work alright with it, but yeah, I've not been having brilliant, because it was pretty good for a while, now it's shit again. Oh well. Yeah, if you want to go for a quick wash and a coffee, I'll stay on a bit longer, Mike, if you want to have a chat. It's been quite a good stream tonight. There's been lots of interesting stuff on here. Ah, sounds very cool, Travis Bickle, or Super Travis Bickle. Is he the super version of a taxi driver? But yeah, even if some of those knives, even if I'd never use them, they're very cool as collector's pieces, aren't they? Yeah, cheers, Baptist. It's because it's that new one, the CR920, whatever it is, the Logitech one. So it picks up the room lighting much better. No, sadly I don't have an Acme All Vision gas mask. Was that the original Harry Warden one that we were on about earlier? What's really interesting, I've probably talked about this before, Random Confused Parrot, is have you ever looked up the Khyber Pass copies or Khyber Pass guns? It's a region, I think, in Pakistan or India, where they make like these bootleg guns, essentially, from like their sheds, almost. And they're really interesting. Like, some people are like dumb, and they go, oh, that looks stupid, I could make something better than that. But, you know, bolt action AKs and stuff like that is... Oh yeah, I think you are right, Super Travis Bickle. Yeah, that would make a lot more sense between Afghanistan and Pakistan. But yeah, if you've Googled Khyber Pass copies, if you've never done that. But yeah, they've got like Martini Henrys converted into pistols. They've got like bits of different guns welded together and bodged together to make them. They're like proper Mad Max guns. They're brilliant. But yeah, you know, it's one of those things where, again, I wouldn't really want one of them compared to a factory-made gun, but it's amazing what some people can make. Oh, for somebody saying about Metro, I've got no interest in the new Metro. At least not until it's on Steam, then on the Steam sale. I have no interest in getting something on the Epic Store. What, the same serial number? Not having a serial number. Yeah, cheers. Some other people had recommended that as well, Beeben, because it seems to be like one of the most popular webcams at the moment. I think if you type in webcam into Amazon, it's one of the top results. But I'd looked at it before, but you know, I thought maybe that one, maybe a couple of others, and I think you and a few other people recommending this one made me just go, you know what, this has got thousands of reviews that average nearly 5 stars. I'll just go with this one because I don't want to pay less and then get pissed off that I bought a shit webcam. So. Obviously, I'm not using the microphones. It's got 2 microphones on there, and they don't sound too bad when I tested it, but I'm using my proper blue snowball because, you know, I bought an actual proper, it's not the highest end blue microphone, but I bought, you know, an actual decent mic to have on my desk. It also means that when I play games with people, I don't need to have, like a headset with a microphone on all the time. I can just literally use a desktop mic, which is good. That's interesting. That sounds like something I'd do, a random confused parrot, but I don't have a Mosin to do it with. That's cool, Super Travis Bickle. I've been watching a lot of documentaries actually recently, just because I really enjoy, you know, some of the stuff you can learn from documentaries. As I said, I need to definitely watch that first episode of Chernobyl soon. I'm just seeing what 13 o'clock podcast are doing as their upcoming episodes, because I support them on Patreon. Serial Killer Dean Corll is the episode that comes out Tuesday for everybody, but Monday for early access. Let's have a quick look at Wikipedia who he was. He abducted, raped, tortured, and murdered at least 28 teenage boys and young men. Wow, what a cunt. But yeah, I find that sort of stuff fascinating. Not that I think the serial killers are good people. I think they're scum. But you know, it's an interesting thing learning about how fucked up some people are. Just like I like to watch documentaries and things about great pandemics of history where lots of people died off, you know, certain battles. I'm sure he's already dead. He died age 33 in Texas, so I bet he was killed. Let's see. Where's his death? Does it say? Does it say about an execution on here? Doesn't. I assume did he commit suicide then, maybe? Oh, cause of death, gunshot wounds to left chest and back. So I assume he was killed by, like, vigilantes or something. Either way, deserved it. I do watch Forgotten Weapons. I don't watch all Forgotten Weapons' videos. I pick out things that I think I'd find more interesting. So either some of the quite interesting details on some of the famous guns, or some of the really weird stuff. But I don't have much interest, like when he's reviewing just some old bolt action rifles that, you know, are dime a dozen, you know, bolt actions or whatever. No, I've got no interest in the SCP. I used to read some of the SCP stuff years ago. You know, when the only most famous SCPs were the one going down the staircase and the one that got you when you blinked or whatever, that one. But the SCPs have gone like crazy now. There's a GP5 SCP, isn't there? It's weird. I don't know Iron Man, I haven't watched it yet. I'm just saying that I know it's the first episode of Chernobyl came out on Sky and I think HBO last night. Yeah, you see, the SCP thing's got a bit Mary Sue for my liking, because I think everybody just makes an article about an SCP, don't they? That's something that's in their interest. And I know there was a big... Not that I want to get into politics or anything like this. This is quite fascinating to watch the destruction of the SCP community. It got very much turned into a Tumblr community, didn't it? Where they all attacked each other because some of them didn't recognise like trans pronouns or something like that in the SCP things, and it's like a community that just burned itself down. It was crazy. SCP, Mike, it's like a weird, you know, like Doctor Who or Torchwood or one of those sort of things, or X-Files. It's kind of like where people did a like Wikipedia thing about fictional things. And it was about, I think they were called the SCP Foundation, because I'm probably getting a load of this wrong, I'm just trying to do it from memory. And it's where they like artifact almost like these weird alien or like mutant kind of things. Somebody in the chat will probably explain it better than I'm doing. So it was kind of like a catalogue of weird stuff. And some of the old SCPs are quite interesting, you know, where it would be like about things that would kill people, you know, like weird alien phenomenon. There was one that was like the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who, where it was like this weird sort of statue that was covered in blood or feces or something, that was locked in a room, and if you kept eye contact with it, it couldn't move, but it could move incredibly fast and attack people if, you know, they went in and turned away from it. Alright, that doesn't... sorry, Panzer 4, if you missed the stream, sorry. I was a bit confused by your comment saying, sorry, I'm not in the stream, but you are in the stream. I get what you mean. My Horizons are still fine. I've got 2 of them. I don't shoot them all that much. I don't shoot any of my crossbows all that much anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, what British Empire 420 basically says. Some of the old SCP articles are quite good, like creepypasta kind of things about, you know, really weird stuff that kills people or drives people insane that are, like, you know, locked in kind of storage facilities. And then there was like some games people made, like not professionally made games, but like kind of Unity, kind of almost like Flash games that were made of the SCP stuff. If you like the X-Files and Doctor Who and Torchwood, you kind of understand it, Mike. But it's one of those things that slowly, you know, more and more people started getting into it, and the writing quality went down, and then there was all this fractured fan base where they started arguing non-stop with each other. And I've got no real interest in it, to be honest. Like I said, it's kind of cool as an original idea, but it just got to the stage where, because there was no quality control on any of it, it went mad. Yeah, I think 13 O'Clock podcast did a thing on that Soviet sleep experiment. They knew it was obviously fake, but they were like evaluating how true it could be. Have you heard of something called MK Ultra, Super Travis Bickle? If you don't know what MK Ultra is, look that up if you want to read about fucked up government experiments. I've actually got MK Ultra being mentioned in a video. Let me tell you what day this video comes out, because it's one where I'm talking about how realistic the Fallout games are. You know, like with stuff that's in the Fallout games that you wouldn't think is real, but it's based on real stuff. It is the video that comes out April the 14th. So is that next Sunday? Yeah, that's next Sunday. So next Sunday, there's a video called How Realistic Are the Fallout Games? And I cover the Vault-Tec experiments under some of the stuff that really happened under Project MK Ultra. I've done videos on that, Griffin. It really depends whereabouts in the world you are. You know, depending on what kind of surplus is available. Always, I'd say a 40mm NATO mask, just because it makes the filters cheaper to buy. I got my deactivated guns from D&B Militarium. I don't know, I'm pointing at the wall and not on the wall anymore because I got them down for the stream. But D&B Militaria, or D&B, sorry, Militaria. But there's a couple of different sites where you can get deactivated guns from. I'll just do the Enfield one more time for everybody watching, because I know you like this. Well, when I say one more time, I mean a few times, but... There you go. But as I think I've said, deactivation laws have changed recently, and they've got more complicated, and a lot of the deacs cost more for a deactivated gun that you can't even move the parts on. Ah, cool. Did you buy something from him or whatever? Yeah, he sent me a load of free stuff, which is great. obviously, like I said, I like him because he sent me a load of free stuff, but I always try and announce that, you know, he sent me stuff for free, because I don't want to seem like, you know, I'm pretending I bought stuff from him and then, you know, I'm doing it like a completely unbiased review. The thing is, I originally bought loads of stuff from him for years, and then he realised the person buying all the stuff was me, so he sent me like a nice letter and some free stuff, and then I started chatting with him on eBay a bit, and he sent me more stuff. Oh, cheers, Ed Trip. Yeah, I've heard some people had trouble buying from him, but most people seem to say positive stuff. But I think sometimes it's just probably lack of communication stuff, because obviously now and again, no likes on the stream. What are you guys playing at? Remember, you had to like it because I irradiated myself earlier. But yeah, what was I going to say? But the thing is, like, with eBay, you can buy from the most legit sellers, and sometimes the postal service, whoever they're sending it with, will lose your parcel. So that's what you just have to contact them and see if they'll send you a replacement or a refund. I irradiated myself. I got my Fiestaware out. If you watch the stream back a bit later, you'll see. I got my Fiestaware out, and then I was holding it up with a Geiger counter, and we were listening to it tick. It might be just one of those things you have to refresh it and then it shows up. I don't know why it's playing about like that, but whatever. And yeah, don't forget everybody, if you're interested in the merch, the GP5 line of pictures is now out on the merch. So, you know, for the people saying they'd wait to buy a GP5 mug or whatever, they're out. Tell you what I can do, I don't know if this will work in real time, I can go onto my channel dashboard, I can click the thing where it shows this video. I don't know, will it show this video? Because it's a live stream at the moment. Let's have a look. Live. Let's see. Oh, it says I've got 45 likes, 3 dislikes. So yeah, the likes are coming through. At the moment, Brexit's not done anything because it's just politicians squabbling. Nothing's actually happened. Oh, that's a very tough question, British Empire 420. I do not have a claymore. I assume you mean like a shorter claymore, like you're saying a broadsword. I'd say a cavalry saber, probably, just due to handgun. Let me get my one down. Tell you what, let me put the FAL back for the time being, because I don't want to completely declutter the, you know what I mean. Yeah, right, that's that back. So, I'm just trying to get it down without touching the scabbard, because the scabbard's prone to rusting on this. I've caught my finger in it just a second. So, a cavalry saber. You've got a lot of length to it, although obviously because it's a curved blade, you've not got as much length as you might think you have. They're awful for thrusting sabers. You can thrust with it, but it's not going to work anywhere near as well as a sword that you can obviously you know, like a straight sword. The reason being the point does not go where you think it's going. Although saying that, you can move the point around very well, you know, so if I want to put the point up to the webcam, I can do that easily enough. The thing is with a saber is obviously slashing, because a saber, you know, gives you a lot of reach for a slash. The curved design of a saber means that you can bring the saber down with more force from a slash than a straight sword. So I think personally, if you weren't very well trained in using a sword, a saber would be easier probably to get efficient slashes in with. Not necessarily very well edge-aligned slashes, but it's easier than I think using something like one of the arming swords back there. Although you can thrust with an arming sword and slash, I think like the medieval swords like that would require a hell of a lot more skill than something like a saber. Just because a saber is obviously, you know, it's a big blade in that sense, if I'm making sense. But as said before, my favourite of all my swords is my falchion, just because the falchion, probably touch the scabbard slightly, which is going to rust now, but oh well. The falchion was one I had commissioned, so it was built to the exact requirements I wanted, and it's a straight falchion, like a backsword. So the falchion, I can thrust with it very well, because of its length, and it would thrust very well, and it manoeuvres very well. And obviously, it's got the obviously the straight edge to it, which is the main chopping edge. But the handguard on this, it's got the fully protective handguard. It's got the bit you can punch with, like the knuckle guard you can punch with, or like brass knuckles or whatever. It's got a sword trap on the back, so obviously you might be able to trap an opponent's blade and then rip it out of their hands or break their wrist or, you know, cause them injury that way. And it's got the good sort of pommel on it, where, again, you could use that like a skull cracker. So it's a bit like one of those World War I trench weapons. It's a very versatile sword that's, you know, the point of it is, pardon the pun, but it is very, very effective at what it does. However, the only problem is, like, and Weapon Collector might be able to vouch for this, is that, like, not problem necessarily, but as cool as swords are, I think something like a warhammer, or a mace, or a polearm is actually far, far easier to use. If you wanted something that you could do a lot of damage with, something like a bill hook with a 6-foot pole on it, like the one I've got that Richard Weaponsmith did me, or say something like the Warhammer Weapon Collector made, something like that I think a regular person would find much more easy to, without training, you know, use. When you say Lloyd or Matt, is that like Lindy Page or Scholar Gladiatorian? I've never met them. I watch their videos occasionally. I'm not massively into I find medieval stuff fascinating, but what I mean is I don't massively watch loads of YouTube stuff on it. They do good videos though. Skilligrim or Scalagrim, however his name's pronounced. I watch sometimes his videos. I know Weapon Collector knows him and he's alright. I don't always agree with all these people's points in videos. They're the kind of channels I at least like, because they don't seem to give out false information. I know Lindy Page kind of does now and again, but he's kind of does stuff as a joke, doesn't he, quite a lot, but so it doesn't bother me. But there are a lot of YouTube channels about medieval history where they just make stuff up, and those annoy me to no end, because then people spout some of the stuff they say. Saying that, Richard, I was watching a documentary. I'm going to finish the stream in 7 or so minutes. I've done an hour-and-a-half stream. I watched a documentary on the Peasants' Revolt, a 2-part one that had Tony Robinson in it. You know, Baldric from Blackadder. Those of you might know him from that. And they were demonstrating some of the pole arms and that, and they showed a regular, you know, just handheld bill hook. Then they showed like the kind of bill hook you'd done, where it's the bill hook put onto a pole, and then with, you know, like a couple of spikes added by a blacksmith. And then they showed like a war scythe kind of thing, which was a pole with a massive, you know, like an actual kind of big scythe, but it was mounted on the pole, so it was actually, you could thrust with it and chop that way, rather than it being, you know, the scythe in the kind of sideways direction like it would be if you're using it on wheat. County, I'm in Oxford, but I won't say where I am more than that. Worst World War II tank. There's a British World War II tank. Was it the Valiant? I can't remember without looking. That's considered to be the worst tank ever designed, so much so they used it as a tank to show students how not to design a tank. Wow. Sabers probably, because European sabers I think are a bit better in terms of design. However, you could do a lot worse than a katana, especially if it's made to decent modern standards. I don't like that the katana's not got a handguard on, or like a very good guard, but I do like that the katana's got that longer bigger handle. I actually prefer like a handle like that, you know, like what the Messers have as well, because it means you can use it one or two-handed fairly effectively, and you can move the positions of your hand up and down the grip quite easily. No for Airsoft, it says in the FAQ if you read it, that I've never done anything like that. I really have no idea. Article 13 is a bad thing, as I've said before, but I don't know if it's actually ever going to do anything. As I've said, I'm pretty libertarian. I don't like the EU, mostly because the EU is too authoritarian, and a lot of the rules are made up by legislators who are not democratically elected. I don't mind other European countries at all, because, you know, I know lots of nice people who work with me and stuff like that, who are from all over Europe, but the actual EU itself I do not like, just because of how authoritarian it is and everything. Yeah, an air rifle, as the name would imply, it's rifled. If you look down an air rifle barrel, I don't mean do that and, you know, shoot yourself in the eye, but let's say you have a break barrel air rifle, it's not loaded, you break the barrel open, you put one end facing the light and you look through the breech, you can see the rifling on it. However, an air rifle pellet obviously doesn't work the exact same way a bullet works. Air rifle pellets work a bit like mini or mini balls, whatever they're called, which I was mentioning earlier, the American Civil War era musket balls. Which, you know, what the early rifles used, technically we should call them rifles, not muskets, but where you've got a kind of skirt on a musket, kind of, you know, lead projectile, and the skirt catches the rifling, but it meant they could actually put them into, you know, the musket style designs. But an air rifle pellet is similar to that. If you, let me get you a picture. Alright, let me get this picture up full size. It's not a very big image, but it should get, if you look at that, that is the exact same way an air rifle pellet works, for the most part. Air rifle pellets tend to have a slightly bigger skirt on the bottom, but that's how they work. The back end catches the gas, which pushes it forwards. Basically the CO2 or whatever. You could just have pressurized air, that would also work. And then the pellet shaped in a way it will catch the rifling. Yeah, I've been airsofting before, but I don't have a UCAR or anything like that, as it probably says in the FAQ. Right, I'm just checking I don't have any more knives out, because I'm just going to close that drawer up in a minute. I don't think I know. But anyway, I'll be on for another 2 minutes, so if you've got any questions, please ask them now before I go off. And also, as said, if you look below, there's a link to my Teespring merch. If you're interested in buying one of the GP5 mugs, because some people asked for them, or the GP5 t-shirts, whatever, they're on there now. So, you know, if you're interested, please get one, because it helps me out. And a lot of people ask for them, so I don't want Bart to have drawn them and then nobody wants to buy one. But yeah, apparently I've had more views on Teespring today from yesterday at least, so that's good. At least more people are looking at the stuff, even if nobody's bought any of it. I mean, they bought other things, but not the GP5 things yet. Well, I can't really do much on World War I gas masks, because I don't have any. I mean, I could talk about the designs, but I can't really demonstrate any of them or anything like that, because I don't have any, and they're obviously historical antiques. Well, I don't like any authoritarian ideology, Nova, because, you know, it's generally not a good thing. But out of the two, in the 20th century, fascism killed a lot less people, but that doesn't mean I'd want to live under either. Communism killed maybe 100 million plus people in the 20th century alone, depending on what figures you look at. If you include Hitler with all the fascists, who was obviously the worst of the lot, then what's the death figure from fascism, like 10 to 20 million, something like that. So even with Hitler ruining it for the fascists, he's, you know, the scores, yeah, I don't want to get too much into the politics, but I'm just saying, you know, out of the two ideologies, somebody like Francisco Franco, Pinochet, they weren't anywhere near as bad as somewhere like Stalin or Mao or Ceausescu or, you know, Pol Pot, any of those. Yeah, exactly, this is the thing. It's crazy, isn't it? That it's like it's politically correct to actually prefer communism, even though both were horrible ideologies in a sense. Like I was saying, this is why I'm quite libertarian. I don't like the government having the right to kill me. You know, I like the idea that I can have a lot of civil rights or individual rights, and the government is kept in check with a lot of balances and doesn't have too much overreaching power. Because the thing is, if a jackboot's stamping on your head, it doesn't really matter what symbol's on the armband of the person wearing it, does it? I can't review a German World War I gas mask because I don't have one. That's annoying. My router isn't brilliant, or router isn't brilliant, but it hasn't cut out on this stream, thankfully. It will have days, though, where it loves to keep cutting out over and over and over, but that's what you get with BT. Katanas, for some reason, British Empire, have this kind of weird mythical cult about them, and I've done a video on this. As in, a blade that chops things, a katana is absolutely fine. What the Japanese smiths did in a lot of their history, with the very poor materials they had to work with, they made beautiful swords, don't get me wrong. However, a katana is nowhere near as practical as a lot of the European sabers or like rapiers or anything like that. It's just not as good a sword. I imagine World War III masks would be rare, Antonio, because it's not happened yet, at least I hope it's not. So anyway, hopefully you found that stream interesting. It's gone out on for an hour and 32 minutes, which is longer than I thought about doing. As said, if people missed it, I may stream tomorrow or Tuesday, but I do not know yet. Because tomorrow I might have quite a busy day, and I have the rehearsal in the evening anyway, which means I'd miss some of it. Or you know what I mean, I wouldn't have time to do a stream. And then Tuesday I'm going to be out for the majority of the day. You know, like having to drive probably over 100 miles somewhere and back. So Tuesday I don't know if I'll get time to do a stream or if I'll be in the mood for it when I get back home. I'll have to see. So that's the stream done. I definitely agree with what you're saying, Richard. It's like what I was saying. If it's a government that's going to kill you, it doesn't really matter what their political leanings are. If you're going to be the person that's shot or, you know, gassed or beaten to death or starved, does it? If you're going to be murdered by the state, it doesn't really matter what the state believes in. Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I've actually really enjoyed tonight's stream. It was quite fun compared to a lot of them. Yeah, see you, Mike. See you, everybody. And as said, I won't be streaming. Well, I won't say I won't be, but I'll say it's unlikely I'll be streaming Monday or Tuesday. So I'll definitely try and do a stream Wednesday if I don't get a chance to do one on either Monday or Tuesday, but at the moment I just really don't know if I'll get a chance to do them. Right, see ya.